Hey guys, this is Jill and I have another video for you showcasing the Here Comes the Sun collection from Pretty Little Studio. I started with the half-hearted cut file from the Cut Shop and I centered it on my paper and cut it out. My intention is to do a sort of inlaid die cutting look. A lot of card makers do something like this and I thought it would look cool to have some white on white with pops of color in the background. So I kept the negative from the cut file and I adhered it to a scrap piece of cardstock. And now I am going to put in some little half hearts. And I used a bunch of different papers for this layout. I used Sunrise, Here Comes the Sun, Cloudy Day, and Lots of Love. And there might be another one mixed in there that I forgot to write down. So as you can see, I kept one of the negatives after I popped my cut file off of my cutting mat, and I used that to trace and cut out the little half hearts that I'm filling in. So I am using some Scotch Quick Dry tacky glue and just adhering those little pieces down. Sometimes when I'm backing a cut file, if it's large shapes, I will use washi tape instead of liquid glue, but I found on these little tiny delicate cut files that it's best if I glue down the pieces. I took a strip of Scotch foam adhesive. I buy the big old roll. I typically buy it off of Amazon. And I tore off a piece of the foam adhesive and then I used my scissors to cut it down the middle to make it thinner. And then I just tore off pieces from those strips once they were cut in half. I personally like the Scotch foam adhesive the best. It's my favorite foam adhesive because it's not super thick. Some of the foam pop dots that you can buy from your craft stores or online or wherever are so thick, and I find that like almost too thick for my pages once I get them in my page protectors. I tend to use a lot of embellishments, so if I have foam adhesive plus thicker embellishments, it's a little too much for my page protectors to handle, and this is already a base of 2 pieces of cardstock. So for me, I like to use the Scotch foam adhesive. So I just added a bunch of pieces on the back and then I glued that down. Now on to the embellishing. This is a photo that sadly I don't know when I took it. I can tell you that it was maybe around 2013. And because I recognized the very tip top of the tree in the photo, and that would have been from when we lived at our other house, our little tiny house, when Quinn was a baby. So I'm guessing it was around 2013 that I took a photo of this double rainbow, and I've never scrapped it. And when I saw the It Takes Sunshine and Rain to Make a Rainbow die cut, I knew I finally had the right stuff to put this layout into my scrapbook album. So I'm taking pieces of the same papers that I used to back the cut file, and I'm just hand cutting my layers. Again, if you've watched other videos, I like to start with tissue paper. Totally stole this idea from Missy Whidden. If you ever watch her videos, she does this a lot. There's no reason for it other than I like the way that it looks. And I've got my photo matted, so I'm going to start embellishing. Because I did a lot of work with that cut file, I kept the embellishment fairly simple. Plus, it's a photo of a double rainbow, and I really didn't want to take away from that picture at all. So I have my big die cut with the title, and then I felt like I only needed a few more smaller pieces to emphasize what I was getting across on this page. So now you'll get to see me totally struggle with silver metallic thread. I love the way that the metallic thread looks, but it is a booger to deal with when you're trying to make little thread nests for your flare badge. So yeah, I'm going to throw a fit in a second here. It's rather embarrassing. I don't know how many times and how many pieces of thread I wound over my fingers, but let me tell you, this stuff is a pain in the rear. So I finally get this little nest the way I want it. And then I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to adhere to my photo. And then I mess up the whole little nest. I tell ya. See, there it all came off. Dang it. The woes of scrapbooking, right? So yeah, a few pieces of thread later, I threw the first one away. I was so mad at it. Okay, so back to the page. I get the little thread nest finally. This one actually gets tucked behind the die cut because I made it way too big. Yeah, fit. Okay, so this one's going to go to the right of my photo, and I'm going to layer the die cut over it. And the die cut does also have foam adhesive on it. Since I'm layering it over the photo and several layers of cardstock that I matted the photo with, it needed foam adhesive on the right side to balance it so it didn't kind of dip and tip over. So there's the foam adhesive for that. And then I will make my final attempt with the silver metallic thread here in a second. I'm going to go for it, guys. I decided to keep my embellishments to the yellow and the blue. Why, I don't know. I used pops of pink in the background. I think my thought process was, you know, the yellow sunshine, the blue for the rain, together it makes a rainbow like the die cut says. So I kept my embellishments to blue and yellow, and then with a little bit of silver. So there's a yellow label from the Label Medley die cut pack that I just tucked below the die cut quote. And I also used the Rain Flare and the higher die cut pack. So the sunshine and the clouds came from the higher die cut pack. So again, pretty simple little layout, but if you get to looking at it, there's an awful lot going on. So I didn't add a ton, but I did a lot of work, if that makes sense. And I like the idea of the white on white with just the little tiny pops of color coming through, and that is my layout. Here is a final shot coming up, and I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.